Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Anime Night in the Dojo. Today's featured show, Slime, Season 4.
Yep, Slime, Season 4, Episode 11. Welcome back to the Dojo. I'm Ryu. That's Age. We're back for more Anime Night in the Dojo, and well, Yuki is now a much bigger threat than he was. So that's gonna come back around at some point. You know, the Harlequins, all that stuff that have been building up over the last couple seasons. Well, we'll see how long Yuki now lays low with the, more greed power. So, just put a pin in that. You know what I mean? But for now, we have a Chaos Dragon to deal with, and it's probably going to get awkward and emotional for Malim. So we'll just have to see how this turns out. And I'm interested to see if something from the game comes to fruition, or if that was just a completely original character that they put into Isekai Memories or not. Because I'm kind of hoping in its original character, because otherwise then it was a slight spoiler potential. For me, only. I'm not going to say what happens, obviously. But it's just kind of a curiosity that I pointed out to Age with the latest event in-game. But either way, that's it. We just have to see what happens with the Chaos Dragon, and then whatever happens next. I highly doubt the next thing is immediately going to be Yuki doing a thing, so there's probably going to be, something with the nations, what have you, more nation development. Hopefully not more meetings, but, this is world building. That's just where we live. So if there are more meetings, that's just how it is. But, yeah, not really a huge amount to say going into this one. Waiting on dubs for the next season to start. Bleach is at the end of the month, so we're just not going to wait for it. If Tanya's dub starts in the next week here, we're just gonna start doing Skeleton Knight and Tanya, and then whenever Bleach starts, we'll get going, because we can't wait to be a month behind again. You know what I mean? So that's not happening. So the Skeleton Knight dub is already started, and then I'll give Tanya like another week, and hopefully that gets dubbed. If not, we'll just start doing Skeleton Knight, and if we have to freaking bifurcate and stagger everything, so be it. I don't care anymore. The schedule has been annihilated. I don't care anymore.
We can't exactly schedule if they don't schedule.
Yeah, so Skeleton Knight's already going, so we'll at least be able to start doing that. If Tanya doesn't start by next week, we'll just start doing Skeleton Knight and Slime, and then slot Tanya in when that starts, and then slot Bleach in, do it slot when that starts, and just have a couple other random things like how we did, the Avatar live action discussion earlier this week. So, yeah. Anyway, we're going to push some buttons and get going, so people on Patreon will see you on the other side for the time reaction, and people on YouTube Beyond will see you on the other side of the edit for the discussion and review. So check out all the links down there, all that stuff as usual, if you want to check out the other stuff and whatnot. And yeah, so here goes some. Well, alright, then there you guys have it. Very spectacly dragon battle. That was, once again, now with newer, these headphones came out this year. The audio quality, man, I'm experiencing things I haven't experienced outside of being inside of a movie theater.
Yeah, there was some serious bass on the dragon noises.
Yeah, and just once again, it's just sometimes you miss out on sound stuff, and well, this is a more audiophile headset, and I had some. It was on like a flash sale for Amazon. I was like, well, what fantastic timing. I'll try a slightly more high-end headset than the traditional $100 gaming headsets that I used to get that were very good through Sennheiser. Don't get me wroong. The Sennheiser Game Zero was a great headset for about $120. But this default was, baseline. I think this is like $300, and it was on sale for like $140. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just see something, you have to pull the trigger. Almost basically, a little over half off. Why not give it a shot? You know what I mean? If it blew up in my face, then I would have just sent it back. No problem. You know what I mean? But yeah, the audio quality difference for me recently since I got this in the last week has been just eye-opening to just the amount of stuff that is put into audio design and stuff like that. And you don't really know that unless you're like in a place with good sound quality, you know what I mean, or have higher quality sound equipment. So that's definitely something to always think about. And it was always in the back of my mind, like, you know, my headset's getting older. It's, you know, it is what it is. And this is with without like, you know, like a major like sound driver. You know what I mean? Like those big ass mixers that like people plug into. Like this headset came with a 6.3 millimeter plug-in. You know, stuff that you plug into a guitar amp, basically. And I had to get the adapter to knock it down to the 3.5 for the back of the motherboard. And if you have even just like, I think I have it right here. If you have something like this, that's just like to USB, but it also helps drive and give more power for sound stuff. Even then I noticed like just plugging into my motherboard, it's a little bit less bassy and deep, but that helped me when it came to listening to just like podcasts and stuff like that. So if you really want that like big time theater experience, you know, you have like a sound driver, stuff like that, you know, like a big mixing board, that kind of thing. But that's far more audiophile stuff, and that's thousands of dollars that I'm not putting into this, obviously, that I don't have. I can swing like $150 for a better headset, absolutely, but several thousand for a mixing board, and no.
Friggin', I didn't know this until just recently, but she was making a big deal about losing his headset when going to the convention. Apparently, it was a $2,000 headset.
Yeah, I would say that'd be something to be supremely upset about.
Yeah, but it was a custom made, like brand new, high quality headset that he got like just a couple of years ago.
That's a real bummer. But either way, as for Slime, we got the expanded Malim backstory. I really appreciate this kind of like art style for like that they always use for like not always, but it's this kind of vaguely similar style that they use for stories of myth. You know what I mean? It's something you'd see like at like the Sistine Chapel or something. You know what I mean? When it's depicting like things of myth, that kind of stuff. That's like these kind of paintings and depictions are like on walls somewhere. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. In like old-timey storybooks and that kind of stuff. So it was cool that they brought this back, because the first time you hear Malim's backstory is when Eren is telling Rimuru about it, you know, after, you know, massacre at Tempest, and he decided to become a demon lord to get everybody's souls back and whatnot and bring them back to life. But it was cool that they just did this expanded version of it, you know, more stuff with, you know, like the friend and stuff like that, which once again, if you guys watched the reaction, I talked about a little bit about how Isekai Memories, the gacha game, kind of spoiled the whole Gaia thing even before the subtitled episode came out, like the Japanese audio, which usually they don't do that. And once again, they showed off the actual model, which I assume is going to be the model once Gaia hatches, and I'm going to leave that spoiler in the timer reaction section. I'm not going to show that again, just in case people want to be surprised by the model or whatever, but if you're interested in seeing it, go watch the timer reaction. It's there at the end. I had Victoria throw that up just to point out what we were talking about, because it's a much different design than this. It's not this. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just going to say that. It's not this. It's not this. But yeah, it's... I'm kind of surprised they did that, but it is what it is. But you know, that everything that was going on with Rimuru and the mod souls and the soul containers that he was dealing with at the beginning of the season, we had already seen that. So when I saw the in-game event start, I was like, "Is that what they're gonna do with the dragon?" You know what I mean? So it wasn't like completely like a huge spoiler, because you could be like, "Well, what else could they do with these soul devices and stuff like that?" So. Yeah, I mean, it's something that is kind of like a step up from like what Rimuru did for Mulan, that kind of thing. Something to that effect, like when he like replaced her heart with an artificial one. It's kind of like that next step of pulling something out of the ether, basically.
Yeah, which the artificial heart was a pretty easy first step, because it's just, you know, creating a fake organ out of mana.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been a big part of his more recent development has been focused around developing technologies around the soul and creating artificial bodies.
Yeah.
Like he has the whole lab down in the labyrinth now, dedicated just to creating artificial bodies.
And let's not pretend that's not going to have something to do with whoever Diablo comes back with, because, you know, once again, let's not forget that we've speculated that he's going to potentially come back with one of the other primordials. You know what I mean? So they're going to need a physical body. It was different like when he summoned Diablo and that kind of thing, because Diablo had already shenaniganed his way into certain physicality. You know what I mean, in the past. But as far as we know, let's say it's Jean or something. You know what I mean? She can't leave her plane of existence because she can't, you know, she has to like borrow someone's body, like how Violet borrowed somebody's body in the Visions of Coleus. You know what I mean? And I assume Blanc probably, whenever she interacts with the real world, probably has to do the same thing. The weaker primals, like Rain and Misery that we talked about earlier, they probably also had to borrow bodies, but Guy was probably able to make them bodies. That kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when Guy named Blue and Green, he gave them physical forms as well. But yeah, normally the primordial demons only exist in the demon realm, and they can influence the real world, but they don't have a physical body, so therefore they can't actually manifest it if they need to possess someone.
Right. And as we've mentioned before, Jean spends most of her time just sending tactical ICBMs at Leon's castle.
Yeah, her influencing the mortal world is her just occasionally deciding to let off nukes on the freaking southern island.
Yeah, it's just like, just fuck that Leon guy. So it'll be pretty interesting to see, like, when we get to the Leon stuff, because the Leon stuff has to happen at some point. You know what I mean? After all the Shizu stuff, that's another thing we have to get to at some point. And Leon did say, hey, you have an open invitation. Just let me know when you want to come to the castle. You know what I mean? And talk about it. So he already has that open invitation to go deal with Leon whenever he wants, whatever he's going to do with that.
Yeah, he still has standing issues with Leon, but they've just kind of keep getting put off by more major things.
Yeah.
So once again, while he has issues with Leon, Leon's not an active threat.
Yeah, Leon's just doing Leon things. He's still looking for that very specific person that he wants to summon from. Potentially, he is also an otherworlder. You know what I mean? So he could potentially be looking for somebody that he lost or wanted to bring specifically over here for whatever reason. I mean, because that was his whole gimmick, my god, was that he was looking for somebody very specific. So without knowledge of another world, why would you be looking for someone specific? You know what I mean? You could say, like, they have to fit this exact mold, like these parameters. You could talk about specific like that. Like, I'm looking for, you know, like somebody that's 6 foot tall, black hair, green eyes, has the capability, like the spatial attribute, can house like a spirit like Ifrit without blowing up, you know, that kind of specific person. But the way he made it sound in his backstory, it sounded like he was looking for, you know, Jane Doe, that exact person. You know what I mean? He was looking for a specific person, not like a template of a person. So,
yeah, it might be, yes, that he's looking for a specific person, or I think the more likely thing, if it's not him looking for a specific person, is that he's looking for someone to manifest with a specific kind of skill.
Yeah.
That meets whatever, like, requirement of what he's trying to do with the summons.
Yep. So, either way, all that stuff aside, we had a very spectacle-y fight here. We got to see Malim unleash her, like, big time, like we saw her do, you know, this was the attack that she used against Charybdis, and she was holding back then, and, you know, we got to see that. But then she, you know, kicks it up several notches, and, well, as Rimuru points out, it's like, yeah, I know she was holding back, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, well, once again, just creating something like this is, well, once again, she is a natural disaster, and just what it is.
Yeah,
that's why humanity has just pointed her, and as you know, she's the demon lord of absurdity. There's nothing we can do about her. She stands in a league of her own. That is what it is.
Yeah, she's the lord of destruction. If she shows up, you just say, well, guess I'm unlucky.
Yep.
And don't do anything about it.
Pretty much. And that was like a lot of we talked about, like with the Maribel stuff, was she was working on incorrect information on the current demon lord's power scaling. She was working off of like Frey and Carrion, not the more reclusive demon lords, and not trying to scale Rimuru to Malim, which he does scale reasonably to Malim. He's probably like 80% of Malim, something like that. But
yeah, he can hold his own against Malim, but he can't beat her.
Yeah. So that was the big fallacy with Maribel's plan and stuff like that we talked about. But yeah, going forward, it will be interesting to see like if like how the power scaling is handled and stuff like that, especially if Rimuru names another primordial demon. You know what I mean? Even if
I know he's going to name
talk,
at least one more.
Yeah. So it's even if, say, like Rain and Misery, or like the weakest ones, and like say he gets John and she's like mid tier, that's still a pretty damn big deal for Tempest's power base. You know what I mean? So
from what I know of the power scaling of the primordial demons, it's Guy is the top. Then Diablo and Jean are roughly tied for second. Then the two mid tier ones are Blanc and Violet, and then Misery and Rain are the two weakest.
Yeah, which again, still they even Rain and Misery outclass a lot of things. You know what I mean? Yeah. They outclass probably the vast majority of the early demon lords. They're probably somewhere in the ballpark of like, whatever Dagrul and Leon and the Dino, maybe. We don't know what's up with Dino yet. He was part of a couple events in the game, but he's there, he's capable, he's a demon lord for a reason, that kind of stuff. So
Dino, we haven't really gotten much on him in the anime, but I do know a little bit of source material from him, and he's a bigger deal than most people probably expect.
Got it.
Specifically, I don't really know about Leon or Dagrul power scaling wise, but Dino is up there.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting to just kind of like just try to figure out that power balance and where everybody falls on the scale and stuff like that, especially now that we've gone far past like Frey, Carrion, Clayman, that kind of stuff, where humanity was basing the demon lord's powers off of the fact that the vast majority of their interactions were with those three, and they figured that the rest of them were somewhere to that extent besides Malim. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it was the only 4 demon lords that they interacted with on a regular basis. Yeah, were Frey, Carrion, Clayman, and Malim. And once again, Malim was just considered to be an anomaly and just a natural disaster that people just tried not to piss off or attract the attention of.
Yep.
Whereas Frey, Clayman, and Carrion were beings that were extremely powerful, but were still like reasonable to deal with and negotiate with and have interactions with.
Yep. So either way,
we see in this episode, even Yuki wasn't really that aware of the power structure of Octagram, because they were having to deduce the actual identity of Demon Lord Valentine.
Right.
As actually being luminous.
Yeah, and that's what he put together in this episode, which will have some certain ramifications at some point based on whatever. One of the more interesting things that Yuki does point out here is that even with his newfound greed, he's still no match for Rimuru, which I don't know if he's full of it or not. he's probably obviously not there because we already know the power gap between Maribel and Rimuru. So Yuki being, say 50% of Rimuru, getting Maribel's power isn't going to automatically put him on equal terms with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we already saw that the greed in its current state doesn't have any effect on Rimuru. And without greed, Yuki still pretty handily loses to Rimuru. Like he mentioned, he was going all out in his fight with them in the ruins.
Yeah. But something to keep in mind for the rest of this is based on what Yuki is capable of doing. You could take what Rimuru said here as some kind of eerie foreshadowing. It's like, as long as I have Raphael. Where have we heard that kind of term before? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at a certain point, don't be surprised if Raphael gets locked away, stolen, or something happens with her that Rimuru won't have access to her for a while or something. You know what I mean?
I do know of a couple of future things involving Raphael, but I don't know anything related to that. So, anyway, well, once again, this was a solid episode across the board for the spectacle fight, whatnot. Moving the Malim story forward, she got her friend back. That's cool. We had the emotional moment for that, and well, she got a semblance of her.
Yeah, a semblance.
It's not actually the original Gaia. It's just an artificial soul created out of one of the remaining fragments of Gaia's soul. Yeah.
So it's as close as she's gonna get, as Rimuru pointed out. It's like, if I mess this up, what am I gonna do? So, but he pulled it off in the end there, and that was great. So it'll be interesting to see how long until Gaia hatches, that kind of thing, and then then I can really talk about, man, they really put out the model super early or something like that. Because what if Gaia doesn't hatch for another 10 episodes or something, and I'm just gonna be like, so. But yeah, the other thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit here at the end was during this this story bit, the expanded story of Malim, was we got the fact that we got to see that situation with where Ramirez stops her in, well, past life Ramirez. We don't know if she's always been known as Ramirez. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if she's always been known as Ramirez, but I do know she maintains her personality and memories through her reincarnations. It's just her power and her physical form and everything resets every time she reincarnates.
Right.
So she goes back to just being a baseline fairy and has to work her way back up to Fairy Queen.
To this right here. So we got the Ramirez side of it, and assuming this isn't the other thing that was kind of interesting about that whole story was it made it sound like Malim's father gave up the vast majority of his power base, so his magicules, to Malim and the dragon. So is he not capable of regenerating magicules or something? You know what I mean? Did he just go full, the half Gufuzz from Ragnarok? You know what I mean? And he gave up all his power, and now he's just kind of a guy.
No, I do know Veldnava is still a massive, big deal power scaling wise. He's considered to be more or less the peak of this world in power scaling. So presumably over the last 10,000 years since that happened, he has regained his power base.
Right. And I assume this isn't him. This looks like Guy. You know what I mean? I was just unless him and Guy look very similar, this is Guy.
I know he has black hair.
Okay.
I've seen a few vague screenshots of some of the manga stuff, and he has black hair.
Got it.
But yeah, no, this is Guy, because this was the whole thing was I knew of this fight in the past, I just didn't know the context to it. I just know that in the past, Malim was on a rampage. Guy confronted her. This is pre-Demon Lord Guy, because once again, Malim is the first Demon Lord. he gets in a fight with her, and the fight ends up stalemating for something like 5 or 6 years until Romulus gets involved. And Romulus is the one who manages to actually break Malim out of her rampage and finally put an end to the fight, because neither Malim or Guy can actually beat each other.
Right.
And this was the reason why Dee respects Romulus so much, and why she has a permanent seat in the Demon Lord Council, even when she is super weak, like she is in the current cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, in the current timeline. In the present time.
Yeah.
Because she's still supposed to only be, like, very early on in her current reincarnation cycle.
Right. As you can see, she was average sized person. So she's got a lot of growing to do potentially, but for all we know, Romulus's reincarnation cycle could be tens of thousands of years. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I have no context for how long it actually takes her to reincarnate. I just know she got some form of curse put on her at some point that forces her to reincarnate and rebuild her power base every time.
Yeah.
But when she's at her peak, she's on Malim and Guy's level.
Yeah. So either way, this whole backstory being expanded upon and stuff like that was neat. The whole Malim not wanting to name the dragon because she was told that something bad could happen. I mean, yeah, but again, it's what we learned about naming in this show was that whenever you name something, you have to be capable of still being stronger than it. You're not going to create something that is stronger than you. You know what I mean?
Yes, but the whole thing is there is a semblance of control to it, because that was like the whole thing with Rimuru at the beginning, before he got the hang of naming, he would often end up accidentally giving things too much power. Which, when he still had limited power, wasn't that big of a deal. It would just knock him out.
Yeah.
But with Malim's case, she's so damn strong that if she accidentally overcharged something, like she said, she could outright just kill it by overloading it with too much power all at one time.
Right. Because, once again, at a certain point, Raphael probably started regulating how much power Rimuru was using for each naming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as Raphael got stronger and more capable of helping him manage, plus then he just has a lot of experience naming things.
Yeah. I mean, he's named tens of thousands of orcs, right? So he's been at it for a while. He's named tens of thousands of people. Possibly he's crested into the hundreds of thousands of beings at this point, because he named every goblin, every orc, and there were tens of thousands of orcs left over after the whole orc debacle. You know what I mean? He's named all kinds of stuff, so bare minimum tens of thousands. You know what I mean? So he's probably figured it out. I'd hope you know what you're doing and figured out a good balance by the time you've done something tens of thousands of times. You know what I mean? So,
nah, man. Once again, the person with the highest freaking mastery points on Garen is hard stuck on like Iron 4.
Right, exactly. But either way, another solid episode. I enjoyed it. It'll be interesting to see where they go from here, what the next problem is going to be. Obviously, it's probably it'll be interesting to see if Yuki kind of deals with Granville. Will we get more of Granville's backstory with Luminous, like, because they were rivals? What turned him into what? We're pretty damn sure he's a vampire. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
I mean, the body hopping could also explain his being like 1,000-some years old at this point, but he still very much gives off vampire vibes.
Yeah.
So, like, it's entirely possible that, yeah, he is just a vampire who can also body hop.
Yeah, so...
But once again, this was while he was still alive 1,000 years ago, when Luminous was still, like, known as... She was still publicly known before she retreated and became Luminous the God.
Yeah. So it will be interesting to see what we get next. There's still a bunch of stuff on the table. Like I said, Diablo still has to come back with his acquaintance. We assume it's going to be one of the other primals. You know what I mean?
Most likely Violet.
Yeah, most likely Violet. So we'll just have to see what the deal is with that, because he had that like standing rivalry with her, that who got named first, and she was super pissed about it. So now he probably wants to lord it over her, like, I got not only did I get named first, but now I'm gonna drag you over here and lord it over the fact that I'm the reason why you're going to get named. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know Rimuru names at least one more of the primordial demons, and it's like an established thing that he always names the primordial demons after sports cars of some sort, like
Got it.
Diablo, and I know one of the other name. The other name I know is Ultima.
Got it. Yeah, because Diablo, for anybody who doesn't know, is a variant of a Lamborghini. It's a type of Lamborghini. So, and an Ultima is a what is that one? It's the Ultima. I remember reading about this a long time ago. It's a street legal supercar. It's a British supercar that is, you guys like know the DeLorean from Back to the Future? It's like that. It's like a singular vehicle that it's its own make and model, and there's nothing else. There's no other Ultima. It's just the Ultima. Like the DeLorean is the DeLorean. Imagine if like the Corvette was the only Chevrolet vehicle, or the Mustang was the only Ford vehicle. It's that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so like I said, I know he names at least one Ultima, and that's just like an established thing note in the community that he names any of the primordial demons he names after like supercars / sports cars.
Yep. So there's definitely plenty of interesting stuff to get to. Once again, we're just slightly past the halfway point of the series, episode-wise, based on what they're doing. So, you know, there's plenty to get to. The angel stuff, you know, all that interesting stuff could happen at some point. Obviously, that's probably the end game stuff that was discussed last season. Stuff with Yuki, the other demon lords, that kind of stuff. The true dragon. So there's plenty of interesting stuff to get to. So, yeah, I'm up for whatever. So, I did make the joke that, man, are they going to have the ED with Maribel again? And they didn't do the ED at all. Yeah. So that's one way to do it. So, anyway, another solid episode. I'm interested to see what comes next. There's plenty of stuff on the table for what does come next and whatnot. So, maybe we'll get some Gabiru. I mean, it's been a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine next episode probably will just be some follow-up with the Granville thing, which he most likely is going to go after Yuki, because Yuki is the one who killed Maribel, and Yuki is the one who's basically calling him out on it now with that invitation.
Yeah.
But then the rest of it mostly will just be some Tempest shenanigans and kind of winding down from the story arc.
Right. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. Raphael did hide that information about Yuki for his own good, and going forward, it'll be interesting to see how Rimuru handles things from that perspective. You know what I mean? Because it's like to him, Yuki was cleared and Yuki's plan worked. That, you know, now he's absolved of everything, and Raphael's just like, yeah, no, no, he's not. He's still a douche canoe. We have to be concerned about him.
Yeah, no, Raphael was not fooled. She knew he was not under Maribel's control from the beginning. She was just lying to Rimuru about him being under control, just because, once again, like she said here, she didn't want him to have to kill Maribel himself. She knew Yuki would end up doing it.
Yeah. So, anyway, lots of interesting stuff on the horizon. I'm looking forward to it. And, yeah, so, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, beyond heavy watching, as always, we appreciate you stopping by and hanging with us here in the dojo for more Anime Night in the Dojo and Slime. Season 4, Episode 11. We'll wrap up the first core next time, or the time after that, we'll just have to see. It's 12 or 13. I'm not sure which they're going with. If Tanya does not start next week, we're just going to start Skeleton Night as well, so we have something else going. And then we'll freaking just stagger out everything that's coming out, because Bleach doesn't start till the end of the month, and who the hell knows when that dub is going to start. You know what I mean? And then by then, we'll have to freaking bring ReZero back in the middle of August. So who cares about the schedule anymore? The schedule is all over the wall. Nobody gives a crap anymore. I don't. We're just going to do stuff as we can at this point. So schedule, never heard of it. So next week, we'll have Skeleton Night, just as part of the beginning schedule, because as you guys know, Slime is the last thing in the week, because our schedule is our week starts on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then if there's anything on Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday with Slime is the last bit of the week. So, but either way, we'll probably just throw Skeleton Night on Wednesday, because why not? He earned it. Ark is cool. He can be the Wednesday show and carry everything. And then whenever Tanya and Bleach start, we'll throw them in on Thursday and Friday, and so be it. You know what I mean? And then when ReZero comes back, Subaru can roll around on the floor on Saturdays. Or Sundays, whatever it is. So, yeah, I'm just pissed that usually the scheduling is pretty reasonable. Like, the summer season or whatever season, it's just like everything starts on, like, anywhere between April 3rd and April 8th. You know what I mean? In that 5-day span, usually everything starts, and then that season starts and everything's good. With this, it's like ReZero went on hiatus for 2 months, and then Bleach is starting like 3 weeks later, and it's just like, okay. So once again, schedule's all over the wall. It is what it is, but bare minimum, we'll start Skeleton Night next week, because it's already been, the dub started, last week, so the dub should be on episode 3 by the time we come around next week, so we should have that buffer zone that we like having. So yeah, I don't know, that's just the world we live in right now. We've gone from one disaster at the beginning of the year to now this, so we're just going to do it as we can and not have stuff lined up, and I'm going to have to remember each episode and stuff like that. So it is what it is, but that's why I have my notes. So everybody, as always, we appreciate you. Have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.
Hey everyone, Victoria here. If you enjoyed the video, please consider pushing those like and subscribe buttons. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks again for your time, and we hope to see you again in the future.